गुड इवनिंग एवरीवन, वेलकम बैक टू द ग्रोइंग प्रोफेशनल शो। और आज के शो में हमारे साथ हैं धार्या गंगवानी। शी इज करियर कोच, शी इज फाउंडर ऑफ धार्या डिकोड्स एंड बहुत सारे ट्रेनिंग प्रोग्राम्स शी रन्स, एंड शी हैज हेल्प thousands of people in getting campus placements and mid-career professional increasing their salary pack, paychecks, getting better job opportunities. So today we will be focusing on how freshers can kickstart their career through campus placement, because she is expert in helping early career professionals and students in getting the very first job and kickstarting the career. So without any further delay, let's welcome Dhairya on the Growing Professional Show. Hello Dhairya, thank you so much for giving your time and being part of this Growing Professional Show.
Hi, Ashish. Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here on your show.
Great. So there are, I see a lot of people these days, as a lot of companies are laying off, firing people. So it has become a lot more difficult for freshers to get a first job, because people who just joined last year or last to last year, they're also
Right.
back in the job market. So
Yeah.
what are the some best strategies that freshers should work to get a good campus placement? Can you please enlighten?
Sure. So I think that's a very relevant question, and I think I always say this: anybody who joins a college ultimately is joining a college ताकि end में placement लग जाए, because सबको एक अच्छी job चाहिए होती है, and I think बहुत लोगों के लिए it's a big dream to get the first job. So I think अगर आपको वो ही जॉब चाहिए जो आप चाहते हो, देन आपको उसके लिए प्री प्लान करना पड़ता है. यू से राइट कि आपको बैक ट्रैक करनी पड़ती है चीजें. रिवर्स इंजीनियरिंग इधर भी सेम लॉजिक लगता है. आई अंडरस्टैंड, ऐसी बात नहीं हो सकती कि आप फर्स्ट और सेकंड ईयर में ही अपना पूरा करियर पार्ट डिसाइड कर लो एंड यू हैव फुल क्लैरिटी कि यार फोर्थ ईयर में मैं ये करूंगी या करूंगा और दिस विल बी द जॉब आई टेक. यस, यू कांट हैव दैट क्लैरिटी, but it starts with having a sense of your strengths and weaknesses by the end of your first year. I think the first year of college should be spent in exploring everything that you can, because that exploration will give you insights on what you're good at and what you're not good at and what you need to work on. जब आपको वो पता चल जाएगा कि मेरे में मैं किस चीज में अच्छा नहीं हूँ या अच्छी नहीं हूँ और किन चीजों में मेरी स्ट्रेंथ है, फिर उसके बेसिस पे आपको दूसरे करियर पाथ को फिर आप एक नजरिए से देखने लगोगे. राइट. ओनली व्हेन आई नो कि यार आई एम गुड एट पब्लिक स्पीकिंग विल आई इवन थिंक कि कभी मैं जिंदगी में एंकर बन सकती हूँ. पहले तो मुझे वो आइडेंटिफाई करना पड़ेगा. सो आई थिंक फर्स्ट स्टेप वो है. आफ्टर दैट आई थिंक इट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट कि आप कॉलेज में फिर ऐसी एक्टिविटीज में इन्वॉल्व हो इवन बिफोर यू लुक फॉर इंटर्नशिप्स, जहाँ पे आप उस रॉ स्किल को थोड़ा और डेवलप कर सको. जैसे कि आपने कोई क्लब या चैप्टर ज्वाइन कर ली, कोई सोसाइटी ज्वाइन कर ली, थोड़े कोर्सेज कर लिए, सर्टिफिकेशंस. आजकल यूट्यूब वी हैव आवर ऑनलाइन एकेडमी. जस्ट ब्रश अप ऑन इट. उसके बाद आप उसमें डेफिनेटली एक दो इंटर्नशिप्स करिए, बिकॉज जब तक आप प्रैक्टिकली उस नॉलेज को अप्लाई करके ये नहीं देखोगे कैन यू सस्टेन इट इन द रियल वर्ल्ड, आप ये नहीं जज कर सकते हो कि अगले 1 साल 2 साल में नौकरी कर सकता हूँ या नहीं. राइट. एंड तब जाके यू विल बी एबल टू प्रिपेयर वेल, बिल्ड अ प्रोफाइल, अ रेज्यूमे एंड पैकेज इट वेल व्हेन सच कंपनीज विल कम, एंड फिर आपको नौकरी मिल सकती है. तो आई थिंक इट स्टार्ट्स वेरी अर्ली ऑन. तो ये सारी चीजें अगर आप करेंगे probably, then the journey will become more simpler by the time you come in your final year and sit for campus placements.
Right. I completely agree with you, Dhairya. I can relate to it, because क्या होता है ना, लोगों को फाइनल ईयर में लोग सो के जागते हैं कि ओके दिस इज
Right.
द टाइम वी शुड रश बिहाइंड, वी शुड स्टार्ट प्रिपेयरिंग. उस टाइम व्हेन दे लुक बैक, दे हैव नो इंटर्नशिप्स, they have no
Yeah.
training programs, and then the result is they do not have time. अब उनके पास टाइम नहीं है. पहले ना तो
नहीं.
उनके पास ट्रेनिंग है, ना सर्टिफिकेट्स हैं, ना उन्होंने स्किल्स डेवलप किए. अभी उनके पास टाइम ही नहीं है कि वो वापस, there is no time machine available कि वो वापस टाइम में
Correct.
जाके करें. So you mentioned it
Correct.
very
True.
rightly. Preparation starts very early. In very
Yeah.
first year of your college, you should start exploring and then start building your profile. Very
Right.
interesting. So
Exactly.
so as you said, there are final year when the company starts coming, right? A
Huh.
person who has started working out from maybe first year or second year, okay, this kind of role I am looking for. So how to identify, okay, which are the right companies for me? Or because क्या होता है, like for example, in good campuses, at least 30 to 40 company visit. In bad campuses, only 3 to 4 companies visit. So there are different scenarios. It could be for on campus or off campus, how to study the company, okay, and how why it is important to study and understand what about the company profile and the job role. Because sometimes what happens, people join and then regret, okay, this was not right for me. So what if
Right.
we can pre-plan it? So if we can just show some light on it.
Sure. I think most of the times regret I've seen in two cases. मुझे लगता है regret comes in when पहले तो आप just एक company की brand value in the market पे based जो भी job role मिल रहा है ले लेते हो. Like for example, for instance, to be very honest, I think there would be very few people जिनको अगर Google या Microsoft में आज नौकरी मिले, भले ही वो कोई भी role हो, it's very difficult for people कि कोई एक 12 let's say 24 लाख का या 30 लाख का पैकेज एट अ कंपनी लाइक गूगल को मना कर सकता है. But I think if you go ahead with working at a company just because of its brand value and name and don't enjoy the role that you're being offered there, that's where the problem comes. Because मैंने हमेशा यही बोला है that when you're choosing a company, CTC और brand value से भी ज्यादा दो चीजें हैं जो आपको देखनी चाहिए. एक आपका रोल और एक उस कंपनी का ग्रोथ माइंडसेट टू help their employees grow. Because even if you're working in a very small startup but your role is aligned with your areas of interest, then you will flourish, you will thrive और आप उसमें बहुत जल्दी प्रोग्रेस करोगे. वही गूगल जैसी कंपनी में भी एक 30 लाख के पैकेज के साथ भी अगर आपका इंटरेस्ट कोडिंग या डेवलपमेंट में और आपने ले लिया मार्केटिंग बेस्ड जॉब, नहीं कर पाओगे. कब तक कर लोगे? So the point is you won't be able to progress or you won't enjoy every day at work. So I think to make the right choice of the job, it's important to understand your role very well. उसके लिए जॉब डिस्क्रिप्शन बहुत अच्छे से पढ़ना जरूरी है बिकॉज जॉब डिस्क्रिप्शन में हर एक चीज लिखी होती है with respect to what a company is looking for in an ideal candidate. And I always say this to my mentees, only when 75 to 80% of the skill set or things mentioned on the JD align with what you have achieved or developed as a skill or you possess, is that probably going to be a good job option for you, probably. And obviously also the culture of the company. Ashish, जैसे for you to thrive in a company, maybe the environment you need is very different from me, and there must be a lot of participants in the audience. उनके लिए अलग requirements होती होंगी because every individual is different. Some people love the hustle and bustle in a startup. They like taking multiple roles, wearing multiple hats. Some people get bogged down without systems and processes. उनसे नहीं काम हो पाएगा startup में. Some people want a system process, अपना सब चले, एक hierarchy हो. So I think it's each to its own. You'll have to identify not just what kind of a domain you want to work in, you'll also have to identify what kind of a person are you, because that will matter how long you'll sustain in the company. That will determine, how long you'll be able to sustain in that company, according to me.
A follow-up question on it, like definitely a outsider, specifically a fresher, do not have access to a lot of information, but basic information how they can judge a company whether this is a right fit for me, considering the
Yeah,
short term and long term goal.
sure.
A couple of pointers if you can share.
Sure. I think first and foremost, it's important to do your basic preliminary research. By preliminary research, I mean it's not just about going to the company website and reading up about the company's history. It's about understanding the vision of the company, the mission of the company. Where are they heading towards? What have been the changes in the company's goals or the clients they've started working with in the past at least 2 to 3 years? Especially जिस साल आप ज्वाइन करने वाले हो, यू शुड डेफिनेटली नो उससे एक साल पहले तक के पीरियड में क्या कुछ रेवोल्यूशनरी क्या हुआ है. इज देयर अ रीसेंट डेवलपमेंट? What are the kind of employees who are working there? Try to get in touch with certain employees working there in that company on LinkedIn. Get a feedback from them. Understand what is appreciated at the firm. What kind of a culture is followed there. It's also very important to understand that in a company, you know, how are employees needs and wants to grow professionally also taken? Do they give you opportunities to upskill? Are there certification programs they're willing to sponsor for their employees? Are they ready to maybe send you to conferences to represent the firm and other things? It's not just about your day-to-day job and giving client presentations, right? So I think again it really depends on a lot of things and what matters to you at the end of the day. For some people, the extra benefits and perks over and above a fixed monthly salary do count a lot, right? For a lot of people, they do want some equity or some shares or etc. Like startups offer them in addition to their salary or some benefits. Some people would rather choose a company over another just because they're giving them that flexible timing to log in and log off, and now they can completely work from home, which I think a lot of people have gotten used to now. So I think it totally depends on that. But I think your major three things you should look at should be the company's mission and vision. Second, how is the mission and vision aligned with your personal goals? And thirdly, you should look at, how is the company treating its employees in terms of what other future opportunities does the company help you with over and above what you deserve as an employee already. That is the mandate and the basic thing that a company has to give you.
Very interesting. Very interesting. We will move to the next question, but to the audience, I would like to just share like, we will definitely take your questions. So keep commenting your questions towards the end of the session. So stay tuned till the end. We will keep this session very short, and maybe just next 10 minutes, you have to wait to get the answers of your questions. So, next question is, sometimes people are in dilemma because sometimes when they read the job description, they get to know, okay, these are the skills that the company is asking, but they're not able to present because sometimes people have say 10 skills in them, but the company is asking for 5. So how to articulate and how to shortlist, okay, which are the skill wherein I should give more emphasis on, or what are the skills actually the HR is looking for. But sometimes what I have personally observed in job description, only a perfect candidate is desired, but they doesn't exist. So how one candidate can identify, okay, if I'm a good enough, or with what skills I can present myself as a best candidate.
Yeah, so I think, see, there is no job description in the world wherein 100% of your requirements or your skill set will ever match. A company will never find a candidate who will be the perfect fit. That's not possible, and you will never find a perfect company also. Let me tell you that it's the harsh reality. But I think you try to find the almost perfect fit always. Now, to be an almost perfect fit and be sure that the job description you're reading through as an employee, you will be considered as one of the potential candidates. The most important thing that you have to keep in mind is that let's say if it's a very purely technical role, and let's say the role is of an Android application developer, for example. Now, as an Android application developer, the most basic and the most simple thing at, like the lowest level anybody would expect is for you to know basics of Java. Now, if that is also missing in your profile, बाकी सब उसमें कुछ भी लिखा हो, that you need good communication skills, interpersonal skills, team building skills, and you need to know Python or anything else, और वो सब आपको आता है, you still won't get selected because certain basic skills are needed. If you want to become a data analyst and you're saying that I don't know R or Python, दोनों में से कोई भी एक नहीं आती, आगे का जानना, even if you say that you know how to make dashboards on Excel, या आपको Tableau थोड़ी बहुत आती है या SQL आती है, but Python या R के basics के बिना, it is very rare that they would be okay with hiring you as a data analyst. So I think you have to identify the core skills, right? Like 2 to 3 skills which are very important in any profile. Like being a management technology, ex-technology consultant myself, I knew that to be a technology consultant and especially an SAP consultant, it is important that firstly the communication skills have to be on point. As a consultant, we work completely on a client facing role, so communication is non-negotiable. The second thing I knew is problem solving is a very important skill you have to possess as a consultant because it's a mandate. I become a strategy consultant, tech consultant, or operations, I'll be solving problems, and if I don't have that bend of mind, I'm not going to get selected. And the third thing I knew specifically was because it's SAP Ariba consulting, some knowledge of procurement, logistics, a little bit of sourcing will be important. And I was working on a cloud tool. Not that I need to be an expert, and I didn't know anything being like a BTech graduate. I had not even done an MBA. But basic understanding of that industry is needed because it's a P2P, procure to pay tool, SAP Ariba, which I used to work on. So depending on your job description, you will have to identify some things which you will not get selected without. And those are going to be the core skills that you need, right? So like if you're applying for a content writing role, research skills, good sentence structuring and basic grammar and vocabulary. And apart from that, the ability to probably market your writing skills also as a marketer in a way, or to know the platforms where you need to publish your writing once it's done. These are 3 mandate skills anybody will need. So I think that is what you need to identify. Everything else is just a bonus or is something which can be taught or learned on the job.
Very interesting. Very interesting. So, like, you have shared quite interesting insight, I would say. But the last question that I would like to ask before I take the question from the audience side, what are the common mistakes? Because like people go for the interview and later on they realize, oh, I am not selected, and they do not realize that they set the path not to be selected because they did a lot of blunders. So, if you
Yeah.
can just highlight three to four major and common problems that people do while they are going for interviews, and specifically the
Sure,
campus one?
sure. So as per my observations and what I've seen, the first one is definitely a lot of people just get into interviews for the sake of it, because they just know the role. They don't care about. I mean, they know a little bit about the role, no knowledge about the company. See, while I said role is very important, even more than the company, that doesn't mean you can go blank into an interview without knowing anything about the company. Because the moment you reach an HR round and they ask you something about the company, they're wanting to know your motivation to join that company. And if you have gone into that room without your basic research of even knowing what industry of clients does that company provides services to, or you don't know basic things like where the headquarters of the company are or who's the founder, uh, these are things that are a big turn off, right, for companies. So that's one thing I've seen. The second thing I've seen is not being able to hold up to what you've mentioned in your resume. So a lot of people write a lot of things on their resume, and their intent at times is also to probably put across something, but it is assumed that you have a knowledge of it. Because let's say if someone, same example, if someone is writing in their technical skills, they've put up a skill such as, let's say, Java. Now, if you've put up Java as a skill, I can literally ask you any question under the sky around Java, because you didn't specify whether you have intermediate, basic, or advanced level knowledge of Java. आपको brackets में वो mention करना चाहिए था फिर. Because if you're just writing Java, it's vague. मैं अब कुछ भी पूछूंगी ना आपसे in Java. So these small nuances, because you have mentioned it, you write something about a project that you use this particular hardware component, or you use this tool, या आपने Excel पे ये function use किया, अब मैं उस function के बारे में आपसे कुछ भी पूछ सकती हूँ. So not going into the depths of what you've mentioned on your resume, and then there being a conflict of being a clash of the knowledge that I've seen, where the interviewers feel that what's mentioned and what I see here is not matching. The third common mistake that I've seen is that a lot of people are in a hurry to answer the questions. So it's very rare that a person will stay calm, compose, listen to the question, take their own time, gather their thoughts in their head, and then answer the question. People are in a hurry to answer and blurt out, their answer. Even before the interviewer completes the question, some people start answering. And a lot of times, what happens is, even while you will be knowing the actual answer, because you were in a rush and out of overexcitement or enthusiasm, you will tend to give a wrong answer. I've seen that as well. I wouldn't say it comes completely from overconfidence. It just comes from over enthusiasm and the willingness to share what you know. That happens quite a lot. And the last one is definitely has to be communication. A lot of people know their basics, they know their concepts, they are deserving technically, but they're not somehow able to communicate that or put that across in an interview, and not just verbally. Probably their body language, the way they're sitting, their body posture, their hand gestures, their facial expressions, none of it is matching with what they are speaking. Probably your verbal and non-verbal communication is not in sync. You're not looking that confident. If you're tapping your feet under the table, fiddling with an object in your hand while answering a question, all of those are signs of disinterest in an interview in a way. So I think managing that and working on your communication is also very, very important.
Very interesting pointers. So I believe like whoever who is going to give his campus placement or her campus placement has watched this video or will watch this video will get a lot of insights and actionable tips what they need to do. So these were the questions from my side, and couple of these were from the audience that had commented on the community post. Now I want to take a question from Sunil Sahu. He has a very interesting question that is very common question, I would say. How to deal with career gap after graduation? For example, if somebody has done graduation but for any reason they were not able to start the career right away, maybe they were preparing for government job, because that is very common in problem I came come across. People start to find a best job, but somehow they do not they're not able to find that, and then they start finding any job. So if there's any kind of career gap, how to manage that career gap?
See, I feel that firstly, whenever you take a career gap, and for whatever reason it is, it's completely okay. But when you take a career gap, if you make that one reason your entire life or every move of yours only according to that, that's when the problem comes. It's great to have the grit and the will and to dedicate 2 years, 3 years, 4 years of your life in giving attempts for an examination. But if in that period of time you're only preparing for that examination and doing nothing else, then you are becoming stagnant as a resource in the market and as an individual. Your personal growth is also getting hampered. जिस दिन आप सिर्फ ये सोच रहे हो कि मुझे अगर यूपीएससी की तैयारी करनी है और आप सिर्फ यूपीएससी की तैयारी कर रहे हो और आपने बाकी सब जिंदगी में बंद कर दिया, तब प्रॉब्लम होगी किसी फ्यूचर एम्प्लॉय को. बिकॉज दे विल सिंपली आस्क यू, ओके यू वर प्रिपेयरिंग फॉर द एग्जाम, ग्रेट, और नहीं हो पाया देन ऑल्सो ओके, बट इसके अलावा आपने 4 सालों में और क्या किया. और जब उस क्वेश्चन पे कोई जवाब नहीं होता है ना, तब कोई भी जस्टिफिकेशन आप दे दो, आपकी पर्सनल इमरजेंसी रही हो या हेल्थ की इमरजेंसी रही हो, फॉर अ लॉन्ग पीरियड ऑफ टाइम, इट्स इंपॉर्टेंट आप कुछ अपने लिए करें. Whether you do some freelancing gig on the side, small or big, do some certification on the side while studying every day, right? You can take up part-time jobs, आप internships कर सकते हो, भले ही paid ना हो, because you have to keep upskilling yourself. You need to understand you are going to be compared to your peers who have already graduated and will be working in the industry for 2 years by the time you get there. So tab you, to be at some kind of a level, if not at par with them, you have to be updated. There has to be something you're adding on to your skill set. Just by doing that one thing, you will kill that. So I think that's when career gaps become a problem. If you're honest with why you took a career gap, and you can justify that apart from the career gap, you were doing something else, even if it was, let's say, building your own brand or starting your own business. It's wonderful because आप सिर्फ घर पे बैठे नहीं थे. That's how they'll not take it. आपने कुछ और भी ट्राई किया, छोटे कुछ भी हो सकता है. Even if you tried starting your own food business at a very small scale, it shows your entrepreneurial ability, it shows your willingness to do something. So I think that is very important, and that's how I think you can tackle it in the most realistic manner where someone would want to still give you a chance.
So I completely agree. Instead of cooking up the false story and just saying like there was some family issues, somebody was not
Correct.
well or I was not sleeping well, do something. Even if you have not done so far, take 6 months more time.
Correct.
And then start appearing for the jobs. But in 6 months time, do that much of work that it will look like, okay, from last 2 years you are doing this kind of thing. So be
Right.
perfect in that 6 months time so you can justify, right? Instead
True.
of just trying to get the job today, start working it out today, and maybe after 3 months start applying, and you will start seeing some change in the responses that you're getting from the companies. I completely agree
I'm
with
sure.
you. Yes. So thank you so much, Dhairya. So like it was very interesting session. It was very quick, and I didn't realize that we have spent good 25 minutes time discussing all these topics. And these are very interesting topics and very important to understand and to practice. So I will request all the audience who have listened to it, take action, because taking action is the most important part to which will help you get success.
True.
Thank you so much, Dhairya, for your valuable
Thank you
time.
so much for having me, Ashish, and thanks everyone who stuck around till the end and for asking, questions. If you still have any questions for me pertaining to interviews or resume or anything, feel free to drop me a text on LinkedIn. I'm pretty active there. Would be willing to help Ashish's audience there as well. Yeah.
Yeah. So I will put the link of the LinkedIn profile of Dhairya in the description section. So you can please reach out to her and follow her because she keeps on sharing very valuable content. So whenever you have any question, you can DM, but else as well, you will get a lot of learning and a lot of value through her content. So do follow her. And
Thank you
she
so
does
much.
a lot of coaching programs. If you are looking for somebody to come into your college and give us sessions, so again, like she can help you out in that as well. So do reach
Yeah.
out to her for that as well.
No, thank you so much. And Ashish, I really have to say that I appreciate you doing this, and specifically live streaming it on different platforms so that the audience can benefit from it, ask their queries and questions on the spot. I'm sure it's helping a lot of community members. And yeah, thank you so much for having me as a guest again.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining in.
Thank you. Thanks everyone. Bye.